Do you like my long hair? It's super long. I plan on going to the hairdresser sometime soon, but right now I'm enjoying my hair. Hello everyone, my name is Celine and I am filming in the same outfit as in my last video because I'm too lazy to change. Today is a very exciting video because I'm going to do my January book haul. I have 7 physical books to show you and I also have some books on my new Kindle. So let's get started with the physical books. First I have Dragonfly in Amber by Diana Gabaldon. This is the second book in the Outlander series and this book may come as a surprise to you, the fact that I have hauled it, because I didn't really like the first book. I had quite some complaints about that one and I wasn't planning on continuing on with the series, but then all of a sudden during Christmas I had a sudden urge to just continue on with the series and get back to Scotland and read about these characters. I don't know what happened, so I decided to buy the next book and I haven't read it yet, but I will because I do have this strange urge. Next is White Oleander by Janet Fitch. This book was recommended to me by so many people. It seems to be on a lot of people's favorites list and I wanted to read it for myself. This is about a main character who is a foster child because her mother is imprisoned when she is about 11 years old. The fact is that this child goes to a lot of foster homes during her teenage years, so that's the premise and it sounds really good and it is really good. Next is The Bone Clocks by David Mitchell, which was shortlisted for the Man Booker Prize in 2014. I haven't read anything by David Mitchell, but I have heard so much praise for him and I'm very curious to read something by him. I decided to go for this book because it's supposed to be amazing and it has a stunning cover. I really like this design. The only thing is I wanted to get it in hardback and I thought that I ordered it in hardback. Apparently I didn't, so I now have it in paperback, but that's okay. I still really like it. I don't know anything about this book. This is one of those books that I'm going to go into blind and I'm excited about that. The Queen of the Tearling by Erica Johansson, which is a fantasy adult novel with beautiful ruffled edges. I don't know how you say that, but it's a stunning book. Let's just start with that. I love the spine, and the reason why I picked this up is because I've been on a fantasy kick lately and I was curious about this book since it is being turned into a movie starring this girl from Harry Potter, I believe. I'm not sure, but I wanted to read it for myself. It is about a queen who wants to conquer some land, I believe. Yes. The next 3 books are books that I received because I became a member of a Danish book club called Gyldendals Bogklubber. And they had a welcome prize in which I could choose 3 books for a very cheap price. The first one is The Last Letter from Your Lover by Jojo Moyes, who is also the author of Me Before You. Yes, the one that is very much hyped here on BookTube. I have read Me Before You many years ago and I quite enjoyed it, so I was curious to get another book by her and see if I liked it as well. And then the last 2 physical books are these 2 beauties. These are part of a Danish-Swedish series, and this is the second book called Dandy and the third one called Between Red and Black. This is a series in which I own the first book. This is the first book called Brobyggerne. I don't know how to translate that into English, I'm sorry. I haven't read the first book and I wasn't planning on reading it anytime soon, but when I saw these 2 books for very cheap, I had to buy them. It is a series about history in the 1900s in Europe, I believe. I love historical fiction, I love these covers, and I am quite excited to get started now. That was it for my physical books. Now let's move on to my Kindle books. I got myself a Kindle recently and of course I had to buy me some books on that one. The first one, this is when I get to step aside because now I will insert pictures up here. The first one I read on my Kindle is Mr. Penumbra's 24-Hour Bookstore by Robin Sloan, which is a book about a bookstore that is open 24/7. That alone is great, but it also has a great setting, a great character list, and a great story. I'm not going to say too much else. I've already read it. I will tell you more about it in my January wrap-up. The next book I have also read, and that is The Bone Season by Samantha Shannon. This is a fantasy slash sci-fi novel, the first one in a series about a woman who is a clairvoyant. She is 19 years of age, and it is not a good thing to be a clairvoyant in this futuristic world. So she is being captured and brought to another parallel world. And that's all I'm going to say. I feel like I'm rushing, but I have so many books to get through. The next book I read and also bought on my Kindle is a novella, and that is Maybe Not by Colleen Hoover. This novella is a novella that goes along with Maybe Someday by Colleen Hoover, which I read last year. It broke my heart. I had to read the novella. This novella deals with Bridget and a guy. I don't remember his name right now. I'm very bad with names, but they have a problem, obviously, otherwise there wouldn't be a novella. And it's very interesting. They have some very interesting characteristics about them, and I am going to talk more about it in my January wrap-up. What else do we have? Then I got 2 books for review. I ordered them through NetGalley. The first one being A Darker Shade of Magic by V.E. Schwab. I was very curious to read this book. It will be out on February 24th, and I was so happy when I received it for review. I was like, yes, until I realized that it was only an excerpt, so it was the only part of the book that I was supposed to review. How are you supposed to review a part of a book? I don't get it. So I stopped reading when I realized that. I will say though, what I read was amazing. This is a fantasy adult novel that takes place in 3 different parallel Londons. So we have a dark black London, we have a grey London, and we have a red London. And let me just tell you, the black London is where you don't want to be. I didn't get to read about this black London, so that's part of the reason why I had to get the book for myself, but I will have to wait, and that's a shame. The next book I received from NetGalley is, what is it called? It is called The Love Song of Miss Queenie Hennessy by Rachel Joyce. This is a book that goes along with Harold Fry's Incredible Pilgrimage, which I read last year, and I quite enjoyed it, so I'm excited to read this next book and see if I like it as well. I will do a review of both books on this channel when I have read this book. I also decided to pick up The Lies of Locke Lamora by Scott Lynch. This is a fantasy novel, and as I have said already, I have been on a fantasy kick lately, and I needed to get this book because a lot of people talk about it and they praise it. It is about a main character who is a professional thief, and that is Locke Lamora. We hear about his life as a professional thief, we hear about his childhood, and we hear about his brilliant plans. And those plans are brilliant, I have to say. So I will get more into this book in my January wrap-up. Surprise, surprise. The last book I have to talk about today is Slammed by Colleen Hoover. This is not a fantasy at all. This is contemporary new adult. This is about a woman and a man, or a girl and a boy. They are about 19, 21 years old, so what do you call them? I know. They meet, they fall in love. The man is also doing poetry slam, and things happen. I cannot tell you too much else, I'm sorry, but the thing about Colleen Hoover's books is that she has a way of surprising the readers with her plot. And I don't want to give away way too much of the plot, so you will have to deal with that. And finally, that brings me to the end of my January book haul. I hope you enjoyed it. Have a great day, everyone, and until next time, happy reading. Bye bye.